Everybody get their eyes on the camera.
All right, we are live. Welcome back to the flow.
Welcome back to Flow, guys.
Hello, hello.
We are back again, and we're about to.
We in a sprint.
We in a sprint.
I am not doing that. I am not
We in a
doing that, guys. But we are excited to be back. I'm Pat Ard with BA Designs and Scott Art Group.
I'm Shulie Gibson with the Speaking Podcast and the Speech and Voice Care Center of Houston.
And I'm Umar with beautybyumar.com. And together we are going to bring you the follow-up from where we left off with today's message. So I'm going to turn it back over to Shulie so we can just review what a sprint is.
Let's rewind.
Okay.
Let's rewind.
Okay.
Last week we talked about a sprint, and we have come up with a great definition for you all to just have an understanding. I'm looking at you like you're about to say it. I'm saying it. So a sprint is a focused effort to gain momentum and execute daily tasks towards completion of a specific goal, people.
And we kind of want you to work through that definition, and so that because there are so many elements of it. One is a focused effort. So we're asking you to take some time and really focus on what your goal is going to be. Mm-hmm. And then it's to gain momentum. So in focusing on that goal, you're going to be furthering or pushing towards something. Okay. So it's going to take you out of your comfort zone. We never expect that sprints are going to be comfortable, that you are going to be coming out of your comfort zone, which is what we want. And then you're going to execute daily. So you're executing daily on tasks, which means that you're going to set aside some time every day to focus on your particular goal. And we want you to complete something during this sprint. Whatever that specific goal is, we either want you to complete something toward that goal or complete the goal so that the next sprint will put you in better standings. What do you guys think about that?
I was going to ask you a question, Pat. So for the audience, so what you're saying is this goal can be oriented towards the big goal, or it can be a broken down aspect that is required in order to complete the big goal.
Absolutely. Absolutely. What do you say, Shulie?
I say that too. It's easier, something that you can complete within 30 to 90 days. So that way you can break it down. But if you have a 90-day goal, that's not necessarily a long range. That still would be considered a short term. And then you can break it down into what can I get done in 30 days?
Actionable steps.
Actionable. Yes. I like that. That's the goal. Okay. So the idea is, what's the goal? What's a goal? So the goal depends on you. It depends on what it is you want to accomplish. We are a business mastermind, but your goal does not have to be about owning a business. It can be about your health, right?
Weight loss.
It can be about exercising. If you've never exercised before, maybe your sprint is going to be over the next 30 days, you're going to spend 15 minutes a day exercising. Mm-hmm. Maybe it's about food choices.
Yeah,
maybe
getting your house in order.
Something as simple as walking.
Something as simple as walking. We did have a question on the last Flow platform where it was mentioned that if you're not wanting to own a business for yourself, but you have goals, maybe it is you want to go back to school. Maybe it is you want to become a real estate agent. Maybe it is you want to become a teacher in the HISD system. We don't know what that is. Or maybe you want to start, just like one of our other questions came up. What if it's a nonprofit? You can do that, and you can focus your efforts toward the sprint for a nonprofit. And we'll talk about that a little bit later, right?
Yeah.
Okay, Shulie.
So you get it. So yeah, the goal, whatever your goal is, it's specific to you. And this is what I like. We have so much that's going on in the world, and I talk about programming. That's like where my mind is right now. And we think that our goals and what we're doing has to measure up to somebody else's. Right. In this comparison.
That is good.
Versus being inspired, like, oh my gosh, I can do this with my finding love. I can do this with being more present with my children.
Absolutely.
Whatever that is. There's no goal that is too small. There can be one that is too large, I would say. So like if you're trying to say, I'm going to
make $64 million in the next
that's a good observation.
I was about to say 6.
Yeah. That's a good observation because that's not even realistic, right?
Right. Unless you're playing the lotto or whatever. But that's not even, you can't even count on that.
Yeah.
So what do you all suggest for someone picking something that is realistic and reasonable to them?
For me, if it's a financial goal, I would say if you are wanting to earn, say, another $1,000 a month, and you set that as your sprint, you want to earn $1,000 a month. I did this, so I can say this. I did this outside of the sprint. What I did was every morning I got up and I spent 1 hour of meditation time. In that 1 hour, I did not look at my phone. Everything was off. I sat down for 1 hour, and whatever came to my head, I wrote it down. I didn't try to judge it. I didn't try to censor it, but they were business ideas. And I was just letting God speak to me. And whatever, no matter how crazy it sounded, I wrote it down. And I did that for about 30 days. I want to say I did that. I did that every morning faithfully. I got up, I dedicated that time. Then at the end of the day, I would go back and look at those ideas. Some things were far-fetched. They weren't part of what I could accomplish. But some of those ideas were ideas that I could work on to add to my business profile that allowed me to be able to make that extra $1,000 a month. For example, I used to do a consultation at a certain fee, right? In order to earn an extra $1,000 a month and provide extra service, I just increased my consultation fee, which got me to the $1,000 extra a month. It sounds simple, but the fact is that because you're dedicating time, right?
Yes.
Writing down something, I had that goal. It began to manifest because my mind was thinking about this all day. Okay, what else can I do? What else can I do? What else is possible? So that's a possibility if it's in the financial realm. What would you say, Shulie, in the voice realm about?
In the voice realm, that's so good. Thank you so much. I love how you just threw that back over to me. So voice realm, say you have a fear of speaking in public, and that can become a goal for you. You can say in 30 days, I want to, whether it's on your YouTube, create a YouTube channel where you can do Instagram, you can do whatever, do the social media. You might not speak at a big conference, or you could stand up and introduce yourself at a meeting. It could be join a class to prepare yourself. Like, what will it take to prepare? That's what you're figuring out. What my goal is in 30 days, I want to be able to speak.
Is it an English class?
Is it an English class?
Is it recording a video and sending it to your family?
Is it recording a video? It could be anything. That's what I'm saying. Start a YouTube channel, get on your Instagram live, get on your Facebook live, and you can start it off not a full 5-minute anything. It could just be 30 seconds. Hello, my name is, I'm just jumping on YouTube or this blah, 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 blah to say whatever. So measurable things. I can measure this, something that I can do daily. Challenge yourself. Even with that, look, here we go again with a challenge. Challenge yourself. If you have a fear, challenge yourself to speak for 30 seconds to a minute each day in front of, whether it's to a stranger or a group of people.
Elevators are good.
Anything. So 30 seconds of speaking to strangers every day. So it's something as simple as that. That's just from the outside voice or the expression of your thoughts and ideas, but from the inside voice.
What things are you afraid of?
What are you afraid of? What is the fear? So then you get to chase down that fear. So what lie are you believing about yourself? I have my clients to do lies and truth when they're really in fear. So what lie am I believing about this? Am I incompetent? Will I die on stage? Likely no. But you might feel like you want to die. You know, your heart is racing and things like that. But then what is the truth? I have a message. I have something I want to say. So you can start by identifying those things. We won't get deep because we're going to get into clearing, and then I can talk more about that. But voice wise, it's easy. You can set a goal. If you have a fear of speaking in public, break it down.
Umar, what's energetically?
It could be just about your thoughts. What thoughts are you thinking throughout the day? Have you ever taken the time to just jot down what you say to yourself?
Okay,
that's the lies and the truth.
Okay, that's the
lies and the truth.
So every day, what kind of thing can I wake up and say to myself?
Just notice the conversation you're having as you get dressed. There is a big value in noticing and just being aware. Like literally just not judging, but just noticing, what do I say to myself as the phone rings? How do I speak about myself as I accomplish things through the day or don't accomplish things through the day? How am I kind to myself? Am I mean to myself?
What's one way I can be? What one thing I can say to be kind to myself every day?
Notice when something's going wrong in the moment, I still love you. You are so beautiful.
That's good.
I still love
That
you.
is so good. That is so good.
I can't wait till you lead us through a session on that, because I was like, even though
Even though
I still love myself.
I know. And then you know what? That I think that's been a thread for all of us. In business in particular, because you're challenged by what you see other people succeeding at, and maybe you haven't gotten to that level.
comparing.
So you have to not compare yourself, and you have to really, I think the beauty of growing is, and not just in business, just growing as a person, because what you're going to find is when you go through these sprints, you're going to learn something about yourself, right? You're going to learn what your fears are. You're going to learn what your deficiencies are. And you're going to take those deficiencies and decide whether you want to work on them. Maybe you have to grow in some areas to move forward in business, or move forward in your life, move forward in relationships. But on the same token, one of the things that's important is that you accept yourself. You must accept yourself where you are, in other words, in order to be able to move forward. Because it's no sense in trying to lose weight if you won't say I'm 220 pounds. Because you're never going to sit down and be realistic with that, and you're never going to succeed. So, well, let's say can't say never, but you're actually going to be challenged in that area until you really face that thing and start saying, you know what, I really appreciate myself, and I love myself.
Can we take a minute to let self-acceptance in through all of this journey? Like you said, that accept yourself.
Yeah.
Be kind to yourself. On this journey, we all have a purpose in life and things that we want to accomplish. But in this sprinting, in the doing, be present with yourself. Let that all in.
Yes.
Let it in.
So because we want to actually give you the steps for the sprint, we're going to let Shalonda actually go through what the steps are, and then we're going to talk a little bit more in detail, right, about each one of the steps, and kind of drill down on the steps. Okay.
So 3 steps. So first, you're going to identify your goal, and then you're going to take action, and that action that's the sprint. That's what that's about. And then from there, you adjust. And then we're going to get into the timing. Who wants to talk about identifying? We had some great conversation around.
I think Umar can dive into identifying.
Because this is one of the areas I personally struggled with. When I started my sprint, I was challenged because I feel like growing up, I got to see images on television. I got to hear people in my community tell me what success was. So my ideas were based in that. So when it came time to identify what the goals were that I wanted to achieve, I had trouble discerning whether these were my goals because I specifically chose them, or whether they're my goals because this is what I was told.
That is so true.
Were my goals.
That is, or should be your goals.
Or should be my goals. So if you notice, if you've watched our previous videos, and if you haven't seen them, I urge you to go back and look at them.
Yeah.
Each of us had very different sprints. Now, collectively, we could support each other as the mastermind group, but our sprints were very different.
Very different. Yes. Very different.
So if your sprint doesn't look like our sprint, that is okay. We welcome the diversity of that. But I want to say that for each of us, while doing our sprint, we found it crucial to adjust as we needed to adjust. In terms of the ideas that I had, my goals were to distill down what I really wanted. So my sprint began with clearing.
Okay.
Because I had a bunch of things that took my attention energetically. So I had piles of papers in the corner. I had a bunch of emails that were in my email box. I had a bunch of things that were like old phone numbers, old business cards, a lot of things that just weren't in use.
Can I interject something right here? That may seem inconsequential.
It may.
But here's the thing. It's a weight on you. Anything that is going to weigh you down energetically, and that you have to spend a lot of time where, oh my God, are they going to call me? I don't want to talk to this person this year. I need to get rid of this. Anything that's going to keep you from actually succeeding in your sprint or keep you from succeeding in life, those are old things you've got to get rid of. Guys, the unfortunate part is sometimes to succeed, you got to delete some numbers.
Ooh.
You got to delete some emails. You got to delete some people. And my girlfriend used to say it best. They're still in the story. They're just not in this chapter. And that's okay
is
for them to
perfect.
not
That
be in
is.
this chapter of your life while you are trying to create success in your area. And I really want to challenge young people 30 and 40 years old to do it now. Because if you really get busy building your life, it won't take forever. In 10 years' time, 5 to 10 years' times, you will have set up for yourself a successful methodology for your life.
Mhm.
But it takes really getting rid of some of this stuff, like Umar say, in your life that is keeping you from succeeding.
Because
Exactly.
they're taking up energetic real estate, and we don't realize that they are leasing space
Wow.
that could be going to other things.
Bam.
I know. I'm just like, blow up the spot.
Yeah.
As soon as he said energetic real estate, he
Oh,
said that with his chest. Speaking
yes,
of voice, you
yeah,
really
you
connected.
came on in with that one right
Go
there.
ahead. We
Go
acting a
ahead.
fool.
So
We keep
so
talking about
so you know we like to act the fool. You got to keep it light. Life is short. You got to keep it light.
Yeah.
But in the process of clearing, what I noticed, the first thing that I had to do was clear my calendar. And this was actually suggested by someone else. This was not my suggestion. But the funny thing is when you commit to this, there will be information and people that show up that will guide you in the exact thing that you say you want. So this is a very mysterious, magical process. So I began clearing my calendar. I had to call people that I had set up dinners and scheduled, this little hangouts, meetups with, and I had to clear them off my calendar.
And that's critical because you really need the focus time. Going out to dinner, going drinking with your buddies, all of that stuff like that. You're going to have to curtail a bit, right?
Television watching.
Watching. Oh, Umar. Like, really?
I know. So when you're saying clearing your calendar, yeah, he just struck a nerve with that one. But you know what? TV, like I just heard this too, like you can hide. Like things like that can allow you to hide.
And it's time
social calendars, television, all these leisurely things.
And maybe that's a sprint. Who knows?
It was for me. It was a big part. It was one of the steps in my clearing sprint, because that was the way I started my sprint. You don't have to, but I chose to clear so that I could get clear as to what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
So that had to come first. The next thing for me that I had to do was go in and move some things around in my physical space. But I'm going to leave that to Pat. She'll go into that in great detail about the power of clearing your physical space. So clearing virtually, clearing calendar-wise, and it allowed me more time to sit down and devote to the writing part, the thinking part,
the researching part, because I had to do research. I had to wipe my slate clean and get a fresh idea of what it is that I truly want now. I had to ask myself some very important questions. And had I been running from event to event, and had I been, trying to meet the needs of my community, that wouldn't have been time for myself that I needed to ask these questions.
What's some tricky things that showed up that it seemed like it was important at one point in time, not a social gathering? Because I think we get caught up in that too.
Yeah, we do.
What are some tricky things that were on your calendar, if any?
Do you seriously want to know?
Yeah.
And I'm embarrassed to say this.
What?
I had devoted a practice for moving my papers from one end of the table to the next.
Wow. Oh.
Come on, tell me about what you
So so when I would have guests come over, because I had this pile, I should have named this pile, because this pile had been with me 2 years.
What?
And during my clearing part of the sprint, I felt sadness when I had trashed the last paper, because me and this pile have been through some things.
Okay, so hold that thought. So emotionally, you're saying you felt some kind of way.
I did.
During your clearing.
Over a pile of papers.
You were attached.
Yes, because this pile would move. Like if someone was coming over, I would rearrange it. Some would go in this corner neatly, and then some would go.
Never purging it, just rearranging.
Yeah.
What was in it?
Random papers.
What was the thought behind it? What were you telling yourself?
That one day, I was going to use these papers. It was a conglomeration of receipts, old phone numbers, bits and pieces of notes, ideas that I had jotted down.
So you got to know
everything.
That this is major for him, because he is a note taker.
Yes.
He will put a note on anything where if there's a pencil, paper, and he will write a note on it, and he doesn't want you to throw it away. I know this because he's a personal friend of mine, and I've challenged him not to put a note down, but to keep if you're going to do a note, put it in a place where you can get back to it. Get yourself a journal. That's talking about journals. We actually want you to get a journal for the sprint. When you start your sprints, and hopefully your journal is going to be large enough for you to at least have 6 sprints, right? So that was a challenge for him. And that's the thing we want you to do. The sprint is going to challenge you. But if we're never challenged, we never grow, right?
How do we grow? And I'm sitting here thinking about that too. I'm a paper hoarder as well, and a note taker. And I'm thinking back to my grandmother. Where did I learn this? My grandmother would write things down on envelopes. I find that I write things down on envelopes whatever is there in that moment and I have journals galore. We have an option in our phone where we can put things, but it's just something about writing it immediately.
I like to write too.
But I'm not considering how much energy that is taking
time.
But I think the lack of, I think you should write down things, but I think what is coming in my mind as we talk about this is at some point you go back and take those notes and put them in a place and then throw all the junk away, right? Is that what you did?
And that's what I did. But see how by clearing my calendar, I actually had time to do this because it was always a someday, one day, maybe I'll get to do it this weekend, but it never happened. And partially the reason it never happened is because I run from literally one event to the next, one situation to the next, and
did the slowdown feel weird?
The slowdown felt very weird. When I tell you that the sprint will make you uncomfortable, it will bring up a host of feelings. Your brain will start. You will have automatic triggered responses where, am I doing the right thing? This feels weird. Oh my God, well, what if I don't get to talk to this person? Or what if, there will be a whole bunch of things that arise.
Yeah.
Like I'm uncomfortable now, like with some of the things that I'm doing with my sprint. And the mastermind has helped me because Shulie and Pat are here uplifting me. We discuss, we laugh, we talk about the challenges. But one of the things that was so beneficial for me to do is when I cleared all of this stuff out, I now had room.
Oh, that's a big word. That's a big word, right?
I had no room.
That's a large word, Shulie.
That is creating space for things. And then what I'm hearing is to shift from weird, that it's not a weird feeling. Yeah. That we are caught up in society where we feel like we have to multitask. And if we're not busy and we're not in that energy, that it's somehow weird. But where we are is in a place where, yes, we have room. And it's very natural for us to be in a place where we can focus, where we can listen, and we get to shift that language from weird to
present.
Yes.
You get to be present.
That is a whole powerful word.
Whole nother word. That's a powerful area right there.
This is not weird. I am present.
I am present.
I am being more present. I'm being present in my life. Like you said, with the emails, with the everything.
And the social media. What did you think about? How did you deal with your social media during this time of the sprint?
I disconnected because one of the things that I did too. I found myself last night looking at a TikTok a friend sent me, and the next thing I know, I'm on TikTok. So I had to tell myself no.
I still haven't re-downloaded TikTok.
and some of us did take some things off, but because my sprint was social media, I left it to business social media, not personal social media. And never in the mornings when you wake up, that's the most active and creative time of your life is when you wake up and when you're in REM sleep, about to actually go into sleep. Those are the most creative times of your life. Those are the times when you need to be rehearsing your vision. You need to be saying things to yourself that are going to bring you up. I love myself. I'm so happy and I'm so grateful now that I'm doing whatever you're doing. And you're feeling these things because at that time you wake up in the morning, your TikTok or your Facebook go off and that's the first thing you do. No,
or the news.
The first thing or the news.
Yeah.
The first thing is thanking God, being grateful that you woke up. So we're adding gratitude to your list prior to the sprint. In the
Yes.
sprint, we want you to add gratitude to that list. So in that 30 days, when you wake up, you want to just say, I'm glad to be awake.
Yes.
I'm glad I'm in my full mind, that I have the activities of my limb.
Yeah.
And just being grateful will take you a long ways.
Something as simple as breath. Like, just start there, because that's
I
God-given.
got breath. I woke
God-given.
up.
That you breathe with ease.
Yeah.
Because there are a lot of people on
If
oxygen.
you can't think of it, if you
you
can't
know.
think of anything else.
The fact that you can walk. There are people that can't even get out of bed. And I want to reiterate something, because I think it can really get missed, is we talked about the mind, and what Pat said is so crucial. In the morning and when you go to sleep, you are drifting in and out of what they call theta consciousness.
Theta consciousness.
And it is the most suggestible time, where your brain is the subconscious and the conscious mind. You're in between both of those states. So you can suggest
yes, and create. That's the time. You can
that
suggest.
Normally your brain may be resistant to.
Like, I'm a millionaire.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Or I have a healthy, active body, and I have the energy to complete the task that I am purposed and called to complete.
Or I'm healthy, I'm wealthy, and I'm wise. Or
As
Umar.
simple as that.
Or I feel free. I feel light in my body. I experience joy in every situation I enter.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't matter what you say. Each of us has something different,
Mm-hmm.
but these are the programs you can begin installing as you uninstall the ones that no longer work
That's
for you.
true.
Hence why we're clearing.
Yes,
Okay.
whatever you take away, you must replace, in terms of give it an assignment with something that's positive.
That's
or
a great
equally powerful
thought.
and shifting. So not if you're taking away papers, you put more papers. But
No.
you're creating space for happy dinner, love, space for people to come into
Right.
your home and feel welcome.
Right.
So like you said, whether it's a thought or a physical thing, you're replacing it.
Okay. So we want to recap the steps for the sprint.
Yes.
One is making an identification of what your goal is. You're going to figure out what your goal is. Then we feel like you have to get into action.
Yes.
So
Immediately.
you have to immediately set that sprint and start. So in that 30 days, you identify your goal
Mhm.
and you start on your goals. For 15 minutes a day, I'm
Yeah.
going to walk. For 15 minutes a day, I'm going to write. For
Don't
15
take forever
Don't
on
take
the
forever
identification.
on
What
the
do you
identification.
want? That's the question.
How
What
do you do
want?
that countdown?
What
Tell
do
me
you
what that
want?
countdown.
So Mel Robbins does this 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It's 5 seconds. What do you want? And you respond 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Right.
You're gonna answer it. Don't overthink it. Don't do a but. Don't do a should. What do you want?
Mhm.
And what comes up in your mind, what comes up in your heart,
what you
what's
write.
been calling you, that's what you
Trust
write.
it.
And you go from there. And you take action on it. What is something? Then the question is, what can I do right now to
Yes.
start moving me forward to that? And so in 30 days, that's what you're doing. Every day you're taking an action. And what did you say? 20 seconds?
And 20 seconds of courage. I heard somebody say this. It just takes 20 seconds of insane courage to actually create a miracle in your life. And so for that 30 days, you're going to do something, and you're going to identify. We're not going to tell you what you're going to do.
Mhm.
You're going to identify, what can I do, or what should I do? What steps should I take to actually bring me closer to the specific goal, toward this thing that I want to do, this task that I need to do daily to get toward this specific goal. And then making adjustments. What we found is Umar started his sprint with clearing, but in the adjustment phase, you can clear some things as you go. For example, if you find out in 10 days on, okay, I'm sleeping too long. I mean, I need to set my clock now. I can't just trust myself. I need to restate some things, like every day.
Or go to bed earlier.
Go to bed earlier, get up earlier. These are the adjustments you need to make. If adjustment means what Umar said, hey, you need to clear your calendar. That's an adjustment I need to make, because I found that everybody is still calling me and I don't want to take that time. to talk
for
to
me,
people.
it was increasing my vocabulary so that I could have colorful language when I write.
Oh, another adjustment that you made. Remember when you discovered that the 2-hour time frame?
Yes,
that was a
that was
great
major.
example of an adjustment.
That was a major
The 2
adjustment,
hours
right?
and then writing in the morning when honestly.
Tell me about the 2 hours you had set.
Okay, so thank you for that. So I said that I was going to write 2 hours every day. And I was doing that, but then I felt like I was forcing it, and that really put me into writer's block. And then what came up, and I think it was through something I heard, that 250 words minimum per day. Or even for me, spending time towards building that. So there's something that I can do within 2 hours, whether it's 250 words, whether it's increasing my vocabulary, but make adjustments. 2 hours was too much.
So
it was a lot.
So we're all have had to make adjustments during our time for our sprints.
Yeah.
So you make your adjustments and then you repeat, right? You go back to what your goal is, act, and then adjust.
Yes.
So you just go
rinse and repeat. So identify.
I like that. Rest and repeat.
Yeah. Identify, act, adjust, repeat.
And I actually have mine here, and it's constantly a work in progress. I have scratch throughs and add-ons. So this is what it's going to look like for you. You'll find that
you're journaling, you're writing.
It's adjusting, it's changing.
Mm-hmm.
You're adding, you're taking away. You're giving yourself room to need to restate my goal. Okay, I thought this was achievable, but now I see I'm gonna have to break it down into 3 or 4 steps instead of just one actionable goal.
And I think that's really a good observation, is that it may have to be broken down in more than one step. Okay.
All right. So where we are with this is good. We get into great conversation. Yes. I feel like we probably need to do a part 2 to the clearing conversation. Okay. Do you want to read the question before we get off and address that? Because we had someone that Pat mentioned in the beginning that had a question for us.
Okay, so one of the questions was about how can a sprint apply to an area that's not necessarily for-profit business? Before I read the question, let me just make this observation. One is, we are a business mastermind group. However, what we want to say is that what I want to get across to you is that we are totally different. We are different areas. Your mastermind group does not have to be in your same business genre, if I can use that. Is that correct? Mm-hmm. Because Umar is in the beauty business, but he says stuff that really helps me in interior design. She's in speech and voice care and helping people learn how to adjust and modify their lives to have a better voice within themselves and externally. But the things that she talks about helps my business as well. So your mastermind group should be people who support your life, not necessarily the same business. Because the beauty in this is that we can learn across the board. Business is business, right? And there are some specifics, but I think it would be relevant to say that it doesn't have to be in your same business, right?
That is true. Skill sets, a variety of skill sets, preferably, like you said, somebody that's not doing the same thing, that you can pull each other along.
And who encourage your life.
Yeah.
Who support your life. Okay, so here's the question. It says, my question is this. I'm not looking to be in business for myself, but I want to launch my nonprofit, and they named their nonprofit. What would the Flow team recommend for a sprint? Because as you know, for profit and nonprofit have slightly different business models.
That is
Who wants
true.
to start?
I'll start. I would
use the model: ID, act, and adjust.
Okay, so you want to identify your actionable steps, then you want to take some action, and then you want to adjust. So, for example, you may want to start with doing your research. You can identify, like, I need to do some research to know the difference between a nonprofit versus a profit business.
If you don't already
know. There may also be a step in which you find who are the organizations that help me set up a nonprofit, because there are free organizations out there like SCORE and also Small Business
Development Center, SBDC, Small Business Development Center.
So there are groups that you could also reach out to find out actionable steps of information you need to take. Deciding who your group is for.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
For my identification portion for this, it would be, do you even know what you want with that?
Yes.
Who are you serving and what are you offering to
Your
them?
demographic.
What is your why?
What is your why?
Yeah.
Who's your target? So just basic business things. So though it's a nonprofit, you can still use what you would use to establish a business. It's a business.
Yeah.
It's just your nonprofit is your entity or your status. And so you're just saying that you're doing this business and it's a non-for-profit and it's not, maybe you want to generate revenue. So there are things you have to learn. Anyway, I don't
Well,
want to
even in a nonprofit, you are going to be generating revenue. It's about how that revenue is spent as you put that revenue back in your business. So it's obvious you have a name, right? So you have a name. Have you put out there that you are looking for people to help you write this? Do you have a charter? Do you have people you want on your board? Have you formed one?
Do you
who
know
are
what a charter
those people?
is?
And have you talked to any of those people about supporting you in this effort, or people that have the same vision that you have? So there's a lot of homework you can do in this 30
days identifying that. So let's give her a very specific plan. First, let us know your who, what, why. Who are you serving? Why are you serving them? And what are you going to do to help them? How can you make their lives easier? So go ahead and put everything that you can think of into a plan. Are you going to do this physically? Will you go into schools? Is it for youth? Is it for women? What is it for? Like everything that relates to your business. Get clear on that, first of all. So identify that, get clear on that. And then that
documentation.
Yeah, document everything and then do your research.
And then I would say for actions, one, take a step every day. Do you have all the forms you need? What forms will you need? What things will you need from the government? Do you have a basic outline of what a nonprofit looks like? And if you don't, let us know, because we all know people who have nonprofits who could possibly help you with that. So we would feel really comfortable.
I've gone through the process.
Right here.
So, and I have 2 people that can actually help with paperwork.
Now, we're not saying these services are free, but what we're saying is the service is available. So we do have people who can help you, and we can, give you some inroads to those people. So maybe that helps you and maybe it doesn't. But what we would say is, if you get started, we really believe in 90 days you can have a nonprofit set up.
Oh, yes, you can.
Yes, you can.
At least you have filed the paperwork.
At least have filed your paperwork.
And that's the main thing. So write back to us and let us know in the comments, or if you feel comfortable, let Pat know.
Put it in the comments. We really want to put it in the comments.
Like, what stage are you in? Do you know all of the questions? You've identified your who, what, and why. And then also, do you know even why you want nonprofit versus for-profit? So that research, put that in there. Your who, like that, it. Just let us know that you know it. You don't have to put all of the proprietary information.
And can I make a suggestion? While she's doing this, I would tell no one.
Yes.
Keep it to yourself and only tell the people that you need information from, such as the organizations who may help you set it up. But keep it to yourself. Yeah. And why should she do that? Or why should he do that?
I believe that's so important because, one, it helps you to stay focused. You don't have time to be talking to everybody while you're putting it together. You only have time to talk to the people who are going to be important in the whole process for you. That's number one. Number 2,
become clear.
You got to remember, your vision is the vision God gave you. It's pretty much not going to be somebody else's vision. For example, my vision for interior design is not these guys' vision. Their vision is for me and my life and what makes my life better. And if you cannot connect on that level with someone who, though that might not be their vision, but they're excited for you, those are the people you talk to. Other than that, it's really important that you keep it under wraps right now until you get that thing submitted.
Okay. All right. So we have someone really quickly. Happy Monday to Asan Taylor. She says that I'm at stage 0. And she says, all I have is the name and the why. So you know where you are. And if it's something that you want to do, so now you get to do
what is it that she wants to do, though?
Yeah. Well, if you care to share, If you care to share, drop that. If not, so your name and your why and who, and then start putting your plan into place. in terms of how are you going to do
Yeah,
that?
what are your action steps? You're at step 0. So now what we did is we said, okay, we identified the action, and we said for 30 days, I'm going to work on social media for my business.
Yeah.
And so every day I started doing something toward my social media platform. So that's the thing you have to, your what is going to drive your action.
Yeah.
Is that true, right?
And the name and the why, that's really good that you're even there. I would
that's
say
major.
that's a 0. Knowing your why is very important.
Yeah.
So that will inform your what.
That will inform your what. Oh
and your
my
how.
goodness, that is so true. Your what will inform your how and your why.
And why, what. Yeah.
You might want to even reverse engineer it, because sometimes like you may be able to see the end where you want to be, right? But you may not know the steps to get to the end. So if you can see like, oh, I would like a building, I would like to have X amount of employees, I would like to be in 3 cities.
Be as specific as possible.
Be as detailed as
so I know I want to
you
do those things. What would be my very next step to help forward me to the big auspicious goal?
And can I say one thing to that?
Yes.
Don't try to censor it. Don't try to make sense of your goals right now.
Don't
in terms
realistic.
of your big vision, your
big vision.
your larger vision. Because if you say you want to be a millionaire and you make $5, $10 an hour, it seems impossible. But the vision, this is what we want you to remember. A vision can come to pass when you create the mind that can allow you to absorb the fact that you can be a millionaire and you can be, or you can own your own company, or you can write a book, or you can get your bachelor's, or you can get your master's. Whatever it is, you can do it. And that's all we're here to say is you can do it. Your sprint is specifically your sprint. But we do understand that we have principles and mindsets that may be able to help you on that sprint.
And as we get ready to close out, she says, I'm currently doing it, but it's not legit. I want to make it legit to carry as a legacy.
Oh, my word.
Amen.
Yes.
So
amen.
That is really, really awesome. So then you get to decide what it will take to make that legitimate.
If it's paperwork, start finding out what paperwork you need to do, and do not be afraid of the IRS. Let me tell you a valuable thing I learned this year in another mentorship program. The IRS is not about money. They're about paper. Put the right papers in place at the right time and you will get what you need. Okay. So don't be concerned. Just get all your business paperwork in one place, in one folder, and take the steps necessary to make it legit.
Yes.
Okay. You do not have to show a profit for 5 years before they say, okay, it might be a hobby. So go ahead and get all your paperwork, because you can't expect God to give you a blessing on what's not legit, because that means you might do it or you might not. Right. So make it legit before you do anything. Get the paperwork in place. That's our challenge to you.
Okay. All right. Well, then I will say, is this from the book? I've been reading so much now.
Oh my God.
Life will pay you what you ask.
Yes. If you ask for pennies, you get what?
Pennies.
So therefore, be very specific and make sure that you identify what you want and you're taking action and you're adjusting as necessary, and don't be afraid to ask. And until next time, remember to flow.